sur mon lit à bouffer sa langue en buvant prends mon whisky quant à moi. Peu dormi, vie débris, mais j'ai dû dormir dans la gouttière où j'ai eu un flash. En 4 couleurs. Allez hop, un matin, une louloute est venue chez moi, poupée de cellophane, cheveux chinois, un sparadrap, une gueule de bois.
G'day people, how are we? Welcome to Ozzie RV Adventures Part 42. Thank you to my subscribers and my viewers and anyone else who contributes anything, even just for watching it. Hope the China virus hasn't got you. As you know, I call it the China virus because that's exactly what it is. We're not PC here. We're in Nil. So, yep, Western Victoria. I think it's about 50, 60, 70k from the border. We're going to have a look around here. I've never been to this part of Australia before, or Victoria. There's a pinball museum here, and that's the main reason I came. I want to have a look. It's the only one in Australia. We'll also have a look at the little desert, and there's some historic buildings and stuff I think to have a look at as well. So we'll hang around here, and then we might cruise down to the Grampians, have a look around there, and maybe do a little bit of hiking around the mountains there. We'll just see how we go. We don't want to do anything crazy. All right, people, let's do it. A little bit about Nil, people. Besides its obviously lengthy Aboriginal heritage, which would have gone on for thousands and thousands of years. What do they say, about 40, 45,000 years? Us white men first visited here in about 1845. And from that, I think it's basically just a farming, rural sort of area, wheat, that kind of thing. I've seen a few sheep about. But surprisingly, it was the first Victorian town after Melbourne to be supplied with electricity in 1892. So there you go. It was also an RAAF training base during World War II that apparently instructed over 10,000 air crew. So, yeah, a little bit of history. And as I mentioned, it's halfway between Melbourne and Adelaide, almost exactly to the kilometre. It's 374 k's from Melbourne and 353 from Adelaide. So, yeah, so she's just about spot on halfway. So as I say, it is a transport corridor, and it's set up. It's well set up actually for that travel. There's a free caravan park thing overnight, in the middle of the town where the caravans can park up without unhooking and that. So that's pretty good. We're just staying in the caravan park. Yeah, and as I say, we want to have a look at the pinball museum. But yeah, nice little town. It's few Jason McCartney, who used to play for Collingwood, actually come from here. So yeah, so I guess it's got its history, and so we'll have a look around and see what we can find. Tubers, a little attraction on the side of the road just before you come into Nil. This is the Pink Lake. It's basically salt, but the pinkish colour apparently comes from a pigment created by a bacteria. But you can walk out there and that, and it's all quite solid and that, and you'll see as I can pick up a bit, and it's quite salty, and apparently it's been harvested commercially, but that stopped some time back. But apparently they're going to restart it. Now, why you'd bother, I don't know, but there must be an interest in it for someone. But the Pink Lake is sort of worth stopping and having a look at. It's quite interesting. This vintage machinery club was right next to the caravan park, tubers, and anyone that knows me knows I love this old sort of stuff. Wasn't open, but I mean, it's attached to the showgrounds here, and you can just sort of walk in. There was no signs or nothing saying don't come in. None of the sheds were open, which is where they've got all the engines and the fancy stuff and all that. So just went for a stroll around, but you've got to admire the amount of work that went into these with the machinery they had at the time. I mean, some of this stuff's 50, 100 years old, and a lot of it was sort of, very hands-on to operate. It was probably pulled by a horse, not necessarily by an internal combustion engine or a steam engine or what have you, or a tractor. But yeah, great stuff, and just so many little bits and pieces that I'd really love to get my hands on, but couldn't get in to have a look. But enjoy it anyway, guys. Guys, this is what I came to Nil to see. This is the only pinball museum in Australia, and this is well worth your time. I spent about 3 hours here playing the machines, talking to the guy who runs it, a fella by the name of Simon. Really helpful, very knowledgeable, and on the subject. But it's not just machines; it's wall art. It's everything to do with them. There's some plastics there that are uncut, from the factory. They've been signed by certain people. It's just an amazing piece of history, and I don't know if there's anything as good outside of America, where the main sort of pinball manufacturers always were. There's a couple of Zachariah, whatever they call them, pinball machines, which I think are from Europe somewhere, but basically they're Stearns, Gottliebs, Bally's, Williams, the big names in pinball. But this goes on for a little while. I'm not going to talk right through it. So fast forward if you want to, but anyone who's interested in pinball is going to love this and should visit this place. these last couple of videos just of high scores tubers. They keep a track of everyone's high scores for 12 months. So, yeah, it was good. I got my name on one, I think, or a couple, and the later stuff, you can actually, it's all computerised, you can actually type in your name and go from there. But, of course, he resets them once a year, so, yeah, I don't think my name's going to last for too long. But, yeah, once again, what a lot of fun, guys. You've got to do it.
Tubers, this is part of the Little Desert National Park. It's a pretty big area, actually. There's Nil. We're here somewhere, but it goes right over to the South Australian border from basically bloody around here, Dimboola, I think it is around there. Yeah, Dimboola. So it's a long way. A lot of four-wheel drive tracks. That sort of thing. It just pulled over on the side of the track here. It's pretty sandy sort of stuff, you know, as you can see. But we started going down that track, and there's a sign that says deep sand ahead. Anyway, we kept going, but it started to, I mean, Zuki was doing it easy, but if something goes wrong, I'm buggered, you know what I mean? So we didn't push our luck too far, but yeah, it was pretty bloody, you know, sort of 6 inches deeper sand or more. So little Zooks was doing it all right. There she is in all her glory. But yeah, this is part of the Little Desert National Park. It's pretty scrubby. You can't see too far. Sort of 50 metres. That's about it, you know. So anyway, we'll have a look around.
West Coast kid, holiday road, holiday road, holiday road, holiday
And you guys thought I was going to forget my successful Australian introduction segment. No way. Well, today we've got an absolute beauty for you, and these things are so destructive. The domestic cat that has been released into the wild and is now feral. Apparently, cats got to Australia around 1804 and became feral apparently around Sydney in about 1820. And the rest, of course, is history. They are one of the most invasive species in Australia and do no end of damage to ground-dwelling birds, to small marsupials, you name it, they bloody well eat it. Not to mention that they carry toxoplasmosis, I think it's called, which is highly dangerous to stock to humans, especially pregnant women. Well, they're the only ones that can get pregnant, aren't they? So it must be women. Yeah, good on you. Yeah, another successful introduction. So have no hesitation in taking them out any way you can legally. Well, that's about it. Can you think of any more successful Australian introductions? I bet you can. Well, that's it for part 42, people. Once again, thank you to my subscribers and anyone else who contributes anything at all, even just viewing. I hope the China virus hasn't got you. I hope you're all feeling very well. We are off to Hall's Gap. We're going to do a bit of hiking and have a look around there. I remember we went there years ago on an excursion with the school. Well, I'm going back for another look after about 40 odd years or 50 years. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to walk as far, but we'll certainly give it a go. But yeah, look forward to seeing you guys in part 43. See you, people.